everyone, welcome to the next installment of this lovely page from Rooms of Wonder with all these lovely little items. I'm going to be doing this little toadstool in a jar today, and we may do some other items as well. We'll just see how this goes. I'm thinking it's a bit like a terrarium. I'm not sure about the bottom, whether it's supposed to be like a cork, but it doesn't go right through, so I think I'm just going to colour it sort of soilish, but we don't really have that sort of colour. I think I'll just grab this one. This is the cream rose, and I'm just going to use that for the soil and just start there really. So I hope you're all well today. I'm doing well. Yeah, I caught a little bit of a cold just before Christmas, but it didn't turn to be anything nasty. It was just a bit annoying, and so I'm good, which is nice. My husband's had a vaccination yesterday. He's feeling a bit tired, but I'm sure it's all to do with the vaccination, nothing else. We've got some leaves. I'm going to do the big leaves in one colour and the grasses in another. I think this pencil is not sitting properly in the case for some reason, so I'm going to use it. Savannah. That's a good reason as any, isn't it? Now I'm looking at the base of our mushroom toadstool, and normally I would go greys, but I'm thinking that my greys are quite pale. They didn't really show up when I used them before, so I think I'm going to actually avoid greys and try something a little bit different. That's good fun, isn't it? So I'm trying to make these a little bit darker at the base, but with the pastels it doesn't show up massively, but it's a bit of fun to try. I'm sorry it's squiff, it's the way it's drawn. My page is straight, so hopefully, because our turtle is straight, so hopefully it's not making you feel too weird. Now the grass, I'm just looking, I think this colour might work. Is this the jade? No, this is the angelica. Oops, I just drop it. For the grass. It's actually Saturday morning. It's, you know, sometimes it's family time, but my boys are working. My husband's gone out for his counselling session. So I just thought I'd come and colour. I've decided that I'm going to do a purple and pink mushroom. Why not? So I'm going to start with a purple for my base. I'm going to use the heather. It's not the darkest purple, but I don't want it to be really the darkest purple. Just giving it a sharpen because I need to get into all these little bits. I'm going to try to colour each one so that it's a little bit darker on that flat bit and then lighter towards that curve. Even trying to leave a little white bit because it's so small. If I just try and fade it, I can't because there's not enough space. So if I leave a white bit, it might just give almost the same effect. To be honest, I can barely see it, but I'm hoping it might work. And, you know, even if you don't try it on this, a technique might be useful elsewhere. Now, I'm not going to do that bit in this colour. I'm going to do this bit in this colour so that it mix it up a little bit. And I'm going to try and put quite a lot of layers here and then less towards the middle, and the same here. I do like just gently massaging the pencil on the paper. It's rather relaxing, isn't it? Now we could mix up some colours, but I think this is working. Now the little gap bit in here, I'm thinking that might be a bit darker because it's set underneath, so I am going to use my dark purple. I'm just going to sharpen it. It looks quite grey, my purple, in my little screen. It is a purple. This is the hydrangea. I'm just going to sneeze, hold on. Oh, sorry. So hydrangea, and I want it dark under these bits. I'm thinking this bit is sticking out and this is like the shadow. And then also dark on the edges and just fade it a little bit towards the centre in the same way I did for this one. It's a bit of a small space we're working in, but hopefully it looks a bit shadowy. And then we've got this sort of gill bit, and I'm going to use this colour for that as well. I'm just going to go over it in a layer, a sort of medium pressure layer, not too hard, not too light, just to get a covering I want, you know, us to be able to see there's some colour. And then I'll think about where I want it darker. I'm thinking maybe under this front edge, I'm just going to put a line of darker. I think that might work. And then maybe around the centre. I can't say as I've ever sort of observed what this would look like. It's quite difficult actually, because this is normally quite dark grey on the mushrooms that I eat. I'm going to make it dark along there. So I think it'd be quite difficult to pick out what would be shadow and not. So I'm just guessing, and I think it's okay. Now our top part I'm going to do in pinks. I think it's much easier to colour the whole thing and then do the dots after. Which means that I either colour it all in one colour and then do the dots in white pen, which I could do. I'm not, because I'm not doing white pen on this page. It's just what I've decided. You could though. So it's easier to do the dots darker. So start with the lighter colour in the background, do that first, and then do the dots darker, or do the dots first. I'm going to start with the background bit. I'm going to use this foxglove. It's a really pretty colour. I'm starting actually all the way under here, look. Just bringing that colour around. Now because I'm going over all of these, I need to make sure I go over these as well, because it will change the colour that I'm putting on top. And then I'm going to layer it up here a fair bit, and then do less layers towards the centre, and we can get a bit of a shine on our mushroom, which is a lot of fun. And just keep layering on the edge, but don't worry if you think you haven't done enough. Just bring it into the middle, have a look, and if you can leave a bit of white paper too. If it doesn't look dark enough, I'm actually thinking this side needs a bit more, you can go back over like that. Once you've done your dots, you might not want to go back over, particularly if it's pen. If you do white pen, like a Posca pen, if you colour over the top, it actually chips the pen away. So it's okay because you can put the pen back, but it's probably better to try to get it right before you put the pen down. But I'm going to be doing pencil, so it's not going to matter too much. But even so, sometimes a pencil can smudge. So if you use a dark pencil here and then you colour over it, you might smudge it around here. So that's why I do this bit first. Now I want a much darker pencil. So I'm going to use this camellia, which is a really dark pink. Well, in terms of the pastels. And hopefully we can get it to show up. To layer it up a little bit, because you've obviously already got some layers of colour under there. We need to get it on top. We might need to burnish it quite hard. And I don't mean by that pressing, I mean layering. If we keep pressing, we'll dent our book. We don't want to do that, it's a precious book. So there we go, it's quite subtle, but actually that suits me. We're not going to get a huge vibrancy with the pastel pencils. And I'm going to do these little dots in this too. Like that. Maybe I should have left that till last because I'm going to do a little bit of a background here. The stars I'm going to do in purple. So I'm going to grab my hydrangea. Again, maybe I should have done these. I think it'd be okay. Like that. Now I'm going to colour the glass. Now I'm going to do a background. I'm going to make it I was going to pick one of the colours I've done already, but I actually think it's going to be better in a new colour. I'm thinking, maybe a blue, so it's a little bit different. Let's do that. Let's pick a blue. I think this blue daisy will work. It's quite pale. It will go with the purple and the pink, I think, better than maybe a greeny blue. Now, see where we've got this dotted line? I'm going to leave the bit outside of that white to look like it's a shine on our jar. Now, if I was using a white pen and using a more vibrant colour, I might be tempted to colour it all and then cover this with white pen. That would work too. Or do some white pen across here to look like shine, which also works. But because I'm not using white, I'm going to leave some white instead. So there are different ways of doing glass. And yeah, it's a little bit odd that, you know, I'm doing a sort of background. You might think this would be see-through, but if we leave it see-through, then we can't, it just looks flat. So I'm hoping that with this white outline it looks a little bit more shiny. That's sort of my thinking. Now along the bottom I'm going to do just a thin layer of blue. You may feel that this bit's going all the way to the bottom, so you don't need that. It's up to you. It's sort of open to interpretation really, isn't it? As often is with colouring books, which is what helps us to be more creative. There we go. I'm happy with that one. I think that looks quite fun. I'm going to move it across just a little bit, and we're going to do these little flowers and work on the turtle. And we've got plenty of time. Now I'm thinking I'm going to do these in an orange, because although they look quite like, no, they don't actually, they're not the same as any other flowers that we've got going on here. And even if they are, why do we have to colour the same? We don't. So I'm going to grab the petunia pink, which is actually an orange, I think. Now the centre is quite small, but I'm going to try to just do the petals with this. It's too small for me to do anything fancy. You could sharpen your pencil to a really sharp point and sort of do some detailing, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it can look pretty without that. There we go. And I think I'm going to do the centre bit and those little points in a darker colour. So we've got this coral blush, which is our sort of darkest orangey tone, which I'm going to use. Now, if you don't have these pastel tints, you can follow a similar colour, or you can just grab your own colours. I know sometimes it's really nice to have a bit of guidance, but obviously if you don't have the colours, this is called Sunflower, and although it's green, it's a bit yellowy, and I think it might just work well with the orange. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted myself. Yeah, just colour along with what you have that's similar. So if you've got, say, polychromos, you haven't really got a peach colour like these petals, but you could just use a light orange and a dark orange, and here you could use your May green or something like that, you know. Right, Mr. Turtle. Now, I quite like the idea of doing greens for his body and his shell, but I want to make, maybe not, maybe just, let's make a start. I'm going to use the juniper lime and do a green body, and then we'll see. I'm going to just put a layer over, I think, and see where we go from there. This is a sort of quite a light layer actually, because this is quite a vibrant colour. Now I'm going to go over that, and we'll think about that later. So now I'm thinking about shadow. Under the shell here, I think there would be quite a defined shadow. If you've decided to work with a black or a sepia or something to put in your shadows, that is the one you want there. But I'm hoping that it shows up with this colour. Now under here as well, and this leg is a little bit further back, so it's going to be a little bit darker, so I'm just going to put a little bit more on here, just under there, and this one is the one that's at the back, so a little bit more there. Now I'm thinking I sometimes do a little more sort of under there, like that, and I'm also wondering if it would be darker at the bottom of the body. Oh, and my hair was tickling then, I was leaning against my tripod. Not hard, you would have noticed. Now we have these dots, and I'm wondering what to do with those, because this is quite a dark green within the sort of range of pastels. But I think if I use the Inca Gold, it might show up. So I'm going to just use that. I mean, I know we've used it for the star there, but we can't necessarily keep everything different. There we go. I think that's fine. Now we have the shell, and as I said, I was thinking of a sort of brown. We don't have a brown as such, but we have sort of apricots and creams and things like that, which probably would work. I'm going to actually use the apricot twist, I think, to start with. It's quite a brownish, you can see it's a sort of brownish colour. Let's just sharpen it. I think I used it for the pineapple, and I think rather than using it and another brown shade, which is what I did for the pineapple, sorry, I'm pointing at it, you can't see it. I'm just going to use this and maybe use a green for some of it. So I'm going to do this sort of line, these lines and this edge with this one. So I'm going to put a layer down, just quickly like that, and then put in a darker layer along there, and then one underneath. And I'm hoping it sort of makes it look a bit more rounded. It's quite a thin space, it's a little tricky to do that. But anyway, now we're going to do this bit. I'm going to just do these sort of surrounds. I don't know. Oh, I'm trying really hard to improve my word. Now I can't think of the word that I want to use. Getting the right word to say. I've noticed that sometimes I can't think of the word that I want to say. I'm quite good when making videos. It's usually when I'm talking to my children I can't find the word. And I want to keep my memory going, so I want to keep making sure that I try and remember it. And I don't know whether there are any tips as to how you can grasp that word. Where can you find it? I'm going to try the begonia in the space. So yes, recall is the word I'm looking for. I want to improve my recall of words that I want to say. So I don't know if it's actually getting better, and I don't know if it's because I'm making more of an effort to try and be aware of it and to work on it, or whether it's to do with my age, because you know, I don't want me to bang on about it, but the I've sort of gone through the perimenopause now, I think, and that may be helping me to be a little bit better. I'm not sure. Now I'm going to do the starfish as our last little thing. I'm trying to decide what colour, because we've got all these gold stars, so I'm always tempted to do starfishes in gold, but why? Why? I don't know. I like this colour, and we haven't used it yet. Let's use this colour. This is called Blushing Rose, but we have got these dots. So I think I'm going to do a really light layer of Blushing Rose. Maybe I might end up ignoring the dots, to be fair. They're quite small. But if you've got a fine liner pen, you could do them in that. But because my fine liners are all really bold colours, then I don't really want to use one. I think it'd look a little bit weird. I'm going to darken around the edges. I think it helps it to look a little bit more three-dimensional. It's a nice colour, this. I don't know why it's called rose. It's quite orangey, isn't it? But I guess it works. It would work as rose. Roses can be any colour. I just always think of roses as pink. As a pink colour. I know they don't only come in pink. My neighbour has a gorgeous dark red one and a sort of gold one. And another neighbour has yellow and pink in the same flower. It's very pretty. Right, there we go. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not going to worry about the dots. You could, as I say, go over them in a darker colour. It might even work with like a dark blue, like your, is that larkspur? Yeah, something like that. But we've got blue over here. I'm going to leave it Right, I think we've done enough for one session. So there are 3 more little objects done, and we'll come back tomorrow for another little section. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your day and happy colouring.